we already belong, yet we feel perhaps we don't belong. What is belonging? Being a part of, not being apart from, being included. How do I get through my day belonging in that way, where I feel connected, belonging to myself, belonging in community with others, friends, family, neighbors, service people. So how do I do that? And how do I do that again and again and keep it real and fresh so that I know it, not just conceptually as an idea, but as a felt living process, of seeing others, being seen by others, really listening.
It's such a big topic, right? And nowadays.
It is.
And for me, it's always kind of elusive, like whether I'm part of something or maybe I'm just completely by myself.
I've been so considering this whole question of belonging, and I actually this morning looked it up in the dictionary, and it said being a part of, and that touched me so much. In my experience, I can easily go to a place of feeling separate or not feeling part. And that's kind of a habitual experience in my life. It's like, oh, I'm looking into life, or I'm looking at life as though I were separate. But it's so clear that that's just an idea.
When I pay enough attention, I suddenly feel how I'm being impacted all the time by people around me, and for good and bad, but the impact is always there if I'm really allowing it to change me and to do something in me.
Every time I see something, like I see now you, I am part of something, part of a connection with you right now. Or, I'm feeling the chair under me, and I know there wouldn't be sitting without the chair. We do this together. We're in this together, the chair and I. So as soon as I go into my sensory experience instead of my ideas, it's obvious.
Yeah.
We belong. We are part of something. We are not separate. And sensory awareness, to me, in my experience, is the best way to get past the illusion of separateness. It's a great way, and it's it's deep, and it can be fun, and yes, it can be painful.
Yes.
It's an intimate world.
Yes.
And it can be too intimate.
Yes. And
maybe that's why we shy away from being apart sometimes.
You're absolutely correct. This the intimacy that becomes available when a relationship is created internally to know this place inside, and then a whole nother landscape opens and everything changes again. So the beauty of the practice, especially, when you take the time and the gift of generosity of time, right, to really explore something deeply, allow the layers to come off and reveal just how deep the belonging really is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's a kind of nectar. It's a kind of nourishment.
I'm at my house,
and I'm in the yard. And the two backyards of the houses, they don't have fences. So we are open there with no fence. And I was picking small cherry tomatoes. Notice I said picking, but what was really happening is that the cherry tomatoes were falling into my hand because I'm just shaking the bush a little bit. I didn't really notice at the moment, oh, what a moment of belonging here. It's so subtle, really. The difference between picking the tomato and allowing it to come into my hand. Well, then something happened really surprising. I'm not super friendly with my backdoor neighbors, but there's a nice connection with them. And the little boy said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm gathering tomatoes. Would you like some?" And he said, "Yes." A very, very simple yes. And that had never happened. I had never had that kind of, well, intimacy is too strong a word, but connection with the backdoor neighbors. And he seemed to so appreciate receiving these little tomatoes in his tiny hand. And something about this simple exchange just touched me.
I live in the big city, New York City. There's so many people around me. It's sometimes getting overwhelming. And it's not the case that you always feel belong. But there are like moments when I'm kind of open to it, and I have this kind of interaction with my surrounding, interaction with others, and it's really influencing on me, influence the way I move, the way I breathe, the way I talk, my thoughts. And I find it very magical to find it. You know, it's like I have a relationship with people I don't know. You know, I know them for moments. But if I'm there, then I can feel the impact and how it's changing me. And I love it. It brings a lot of inspiration for me. That's, you know, I go back from the street and I feel like, oh, something changed in me with meeting others in this way. It's not all the time, but it's happening.